Let's dive right into the Chicago Bears and all the buzz surrounding their coaching situation and roster moves, because there's a lot to unpack. You might remember the chatter around Kevin O'Connell and that surprising report suggesting some teams could try to trade for him. When I first saw that pop up again on social media, I had to laugh. It seemed a little far-fetched at first. Why would the Vikings even consider trading a young, promising head coach like O'Connell? But then, thinking about the timing of that leak, things got a little more intriguing. It all surfaced right before that brutal Week 18 loss to the Lions, which only made it more curious. The popular theory back then was that O'Connell's camp, his PR team, was behind the leak, possibly to stir up interest or leverage in contract negotiations. That still sounds like the most plausible explanation. However, there's a fascinating twist worth considering. What if he leaked that information knowing the Bears were already in the market for a new head coach? After all, they had just fired Matt Eberflus, so their search was underway. On top of that, Caleb Williams, the Bears' promising young quarterback, is a big fan of O'Connell's coaching style. Maybe O'Connell's camp figured, hey, let's just drop this leak because there's a solid chance the Bears would be interested in trading for me. And that could lead to a pay raise or a better deal. It's an interesting theory though. I wouldn't give it a huge amount of weight. Still, connecting those dots makes it hard to completely rule out. The Vikings were almost certainly never going to trade O'Connell, especially not to a division rival. That part feels like a non-starter. But the notion that the leak might have been a strategic move in anticipation of interest from a team like Chicago, that's a layer worth thinking about. If he had been truly available in the trade market, you can bet there would have been multiple teams interested. O'Connell is under 40 years old, which in NFL coaching terms is very young and full of upside. He's already accomplished quite a bit, even though a playoff win still eludes him. Over 3 seasons, he's managed 13 or more wins twice and made it to the playoffs in 2 of those 3 years. His track record with quarterback development is impressive too. Just last year, his work with Sam Darnold was pretty remarkable, turning the quarterback into a serious contender. Now the question is whether he can do something similar with Justin Fields or with Caleb Williams if the Bears decide to roll with him as their future. On the Bears side, the focus has shifted. Full steam ahead to Ben Johnson's era. The excitement around his arrival is palpable. Fans are hungry to see what he can do, and the hope is that Week 1 will bring some redemption, perhaps with a win over O'Connell's squad. It's a fresh start, and that energy can't be underestimated. Switching gears for a moment to baseball, there's an ongoing debate about the Cubs versus the White Sox. Honestly, I don't have super strong allegiances anymore, but growing up I was a big Astros fan. I know that might raise some eyebrows for Chicago fans, but that's the truth. The last regular season game I watched was probably about 5 years ago, though I still catch playoff games here and there. As a kid, I was a huge fan of the Cubs, mostly because of players like Zambrano and Aramis Ramirez. Those guys were exciting to watch and made the Cubs fun to root for. That said, I'm open to hearing arguments for either side if you want to convince me why I should be rooting for the Cubs or the White Sox. Drop your case in the comments. I'm genuinely curious about what you all think. It's a great rivalry, and Chicago baseball is always fascinating to follow, whether it's north or south side. Back to football, let's talk about Luther Burden, who's generating a lot of buzz. There's a strong feeling that he could be the Bears' answer at wide receiver, somewhat like a new version of Deebo Samuel. Luther might bring a little more finesse to route running, and while he might not have quite the same physicality or size as Deebo, he's about 206 pounds compared to Deebo's 215 to 220. There are some clear parallels. Both players excel at making defenders miss and creating yards after the catch in open space. Luther may be a bit more polished when it comes to routes, and perhaps a little less bruising with the ball in his hands, but the potential is definitely there. Of course, all this is projection until he proves it on the field, but the hype makes sense given what we've seen so far. On the quarterback front, there's been talk about Tyson running the offense all year. It's hard to say exactly how many games they'd win with him starting every week, but I do think he could be effective in the right role. One of Tyson's strengths is getting the ball out quickly, which fits well with the Bears' offensive system. When he stepped in during Justin Fields' injury spells a couple of years ago, the big play ability wasn't quite the same as before, and his arm strength isn't what it used to be. But he showed a good ability to read matchups and deliver accurate throws. Some have compared him to a less mobile Brock Purdy, which is interesting considering Brock recently signed a big contract. Whether Tyson ends up starting or staying as a developmental backup, the Bears have options. With Ben Johnson leading the coaching staff, I'm confident they'll have a solid game plan no matter who's under center. The trade talks have also been buzzing, especially about whether the Bears would trade Cole Kmet for Trey Hendrickson. That's a tricky one. Kmet, being a solid tight end, probably has a value around a middle round draft pick, maybe a third or fourth round. Trading him plus a third round pick for Hendrickson might be slightly overpaying, though it could be close. The issue is the depth at tight end. Colston Lovell isn't healthy right now, and even if he were, he's still a rookie. The Bears would be relying heavily on a thin tight end room if they moved Kmet. So while Hendrickson would definitely boost the pass rush and help the defense, the risks at tight end make me think the Bears might hold on to Kmet for now. There's also a lot of curiosity about how the Bears will maximize Caleb Williams' rookie contract. The first year was rough, largely due to some organizational missteps, but the offseason moves have been promising. They brought in the best offensive coach available, upgraded the offensive line on paper, and added more weapons around Caleb. What the Bears really need is a more proven north-south runner at running back, but overall they're heading in the right direction. The question remains if they'll swing big for a pass rusher either before week 1 or at the trade deadline, especially if the defense struggles to generate pressure. A controllable young pass rusher could be exactly what they need to push the team from contender to serious threat. Regarding Tyrique Stevenson, the general consensus is that he won't be traded unless he's clearly beaten out by other players. And the Bears feel he can't handle being a backup. Otherwise, he's expected to stick around and develop under the guidance of Al Harris. Stevenson might not become an all-pro, but he could evolve into a valuable contributor by mid-season. As for Caleb Williams, projections for this year hover around 26.5 total touchdowns, including rushing. Many expect he'll throw for over 20 touchdown passes and add a few rushing scores, thanks to a more dynamic offense that suits his skill set better than last year. The running back room is a bit of a concern though. DeAndre Swift brings explosiveness as a pass catcher, and the hope is that he'll become more consistent running between the tackles. Meanwhile, young backs like Roshan Johnson and Kyle Manungai face tough challenges to emerge as reliable contributors. It wouldn't be surprising if the Bears look to add depth there during the season. Looking ahead, if the Bears finish around 8 to 10 wins this year, but just miss the playoffs or bow out in the first round, the expectation for 2026 should be clear. Push for a playoff win. With a young roster and Caleb Williams gaining experience, the natural progression would be to expect the team to take another step forward and finally break through in the postseason. Of course, so many variables could affect this trajectory, but that would be the optimistic projection based on the current path. There's a lot happening with the Bears right now. Mandatory minicamps are coming up. Training camp is just a couple of months away, and the offseason coverage keeps rolling. The excitement is real, and the city is watching closely to see how this rebuild unfolds. The pieces are starting to come together, and while questions remain, the foundation feels solid enough to be hopeful for something special in the near future. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors have been swirling around the NFL, and the latest buzz suggests a seismic shift in the league's defensive landscape. Word on the street is that TJ Watt, the relentless pass rusher who has been the heart and soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, could be packing his bags and heading to the Windy City to join the Chicago Bears. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the situation hint that the Bears are eyeing Watt as a cornerstone to revamp their defense and bring some much-needed firepower to their pass rush. Watt's potential move to Chicago would be a game-changer, not only for the Bears, but for the entire NFL defensive scene. Known for his explosive speed, relentless pursuit, and uncanny ability to disrupt opposing offenses, Watt has established himself as one of the premier linebackers in the league. His tenure in Pittsburgh saw him rack up sacks, force turnovers, and earn multiple All-Pro selections, making him a household name among football fans. The Bears, a team with a storied defensive tradition, have been searching for a true game wrecker to restore their legacy of defensive dominance. Adding Watt to their roster could signal a new era for Chicago's defense, injecting both talent and experience into a unit that has struggled to consistently pressure quarterbacks. With Watt on the edge, the Bears could become a nightmare for opposing offenses, combining his relentless pass rush with the team's existing defensive talent. Speculation suggests that this move, if it materializes, might be motivated by a combination of factors. Pittsburgh has faced salary cap constraints, and although Watt is a beloved figure there, the financial realities of the league sometimes force tough decisions. On the other hand, Chicago appears ready to invest heavily to build a defense capable of contending in the NFC North and beyond. The potential acquisition of Watt would send a loud message that the Bears are serious about turning their fortunes around. Fans in both cities are buzzing with excitement and anxiety. Steelers supporters are bracing for the possible departure of a defensive titan, while Bears fans are dreaming of the resurgence of their team's feared defense. Analysts are already debating how Watt's skill set would mesh with the Bears' defensive scheme and whether his presence could elevate the team to playoff contention. While this remains a rumor for now, the NFL offseason is known for its surprises, and a move of this magnitude would certainly shake up the league's power dynamics. For TJ Watt, the prospect of a fresh start in Chicago could be an opportunity to shine even brighter on a new stage and add another thrilling chapter to his already impressive career. As the rumors continue to swirl, all eyes will be on the Bears front office to see if they can pull off what would be one of the most significant defensive acquisitions in recent memory. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.